talk about Death Row East? What is exactly happening, and what can we expect from it?
You believe in God?
Certainly.
Before the bullets, before the beefs, and before the blood spilled in Vegas, and the silence that followed, there was a plan. A plan that, if executed, would have changed the music industry forever. This is the untold story of Death Row East, a bold and dangerous move by Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur to expand the most feared label in hip-hop history from Los Angeles to New York City. It was an audacious, strategic assault on the East Coast stronghold, wrapped in black suits and blood-red ambition. But like all empires built too fast, it collapsed under its own weight. This is the rise and fall of Death Row East. By the mid-90s, Death Row Records was more than a label. It was a movement. Suge Knight, the imposing CEO with a background in both business and bloodshed, had built a dynasty in California with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac. Death Row owned the charts and the streets, but behind the platinum records and award shows was a culture of intimidation, fear, and unchecked power. Suge was known for dangling rivals over balconies, showing up to studios with entourages of muscle, and asserting dominance in boardrooms the same way he did in Compton. To Suge, control wasn't earned, it was taken.
The last word is always God, but Pac saved my life. The reason why I say Pac saved my life, I got shot in the head, I got grazed some other places, but I still got the bullet in my head. It's still there.
I'd like to tell Tupac to keep his guards up. We don't even get caught up in that type of shit.
All right, man. Can we talk about Death Row East? What is exactly happening, and what can we expect from it?
Hey, it take a while to get it down on wax.
That's what it was?
So me and her took a while.
You're talking in the elevator, what you think they're doing it for? Why they're doing this to you?
Because, I mean, the way this country is successful is if we have one set of rules and everybody follows them. If anybody gets outside of that set of rules and they're in a public view like I am, you know, it's like detrimental to everybody following the rules if I'm representing, like, to what they think is that I represent lawlessness.
In 1995, Tupac Shakur was behind bars for a sexual assault conviction. It seemed like it was the end of his career until Suge Knight entered the picture. Suge offered Pac a deal, signed to Death Row, and he'll pay his $1.4 million bail. Of course, Tupac took it, and within hours, he was a free man. But this wasn't just a rescue, it was a chess move. Suge had acquired not just an artist, but a weapon. Tupac, angry and newly aligned with the West Coast, became the label's frontline soldier. And with that move, Suge Knight had made his intentions very clear. He wasn't just building a record label, he was waging war.
We won't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
Love in the studio?
Yeah.
Hey, it take a while to get it down on wax.
That's what it was?
So me and her took a while. Faith, my home. Beat rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game. If this was chess, we'd be yelling checkmate 3 years ago.
At the heart of Death Row East lies the real story. Not just a rivalry between coasts, but a personal, strategic battle between Suge Knight and Sean Puffy Combs. Puffy had built Bad Boy Records as the crown jewel of New York City hip-hop, with Notorious B.I.G. as his knight. His approach was polished, corporate, and charming. Suge, he was the opposite, brash, aggressive, and raw.
I'm the executive producer that a comment was made about a little bit earlier. But check this out, contrary to what other people may feel, I would like to say that I'm very proud of Dr. Dre, of Death Row, and Suge Knight for their accomplishments. And all this East and West that needs to...
The tension exploded at the 1995 Source Awards, where Suge publicly dissed Puffy on stage. Any artist out there that wants to be an artist and wants to play a star and don't want to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, dancing, come to death row. It wasn't just a jab, it was a declaration of war. Behind the scenes, things were boiling. Studios were being shot up, and crews were picking sides. And Tupac, now loyal to Suge, accused Puffy and Biggie of having a role in his 1994 shooting at Quad Studios in New York City. The beef has now turned deadly. Suge saw the chaos as an opportunity. He wasn't just trying to destroy Bad Boy, he wanted to replace them, and not just in LA, but in New York. Inspired by Sun Tzu's The Art of War, Suge moved into enemy territory, and not to negotiate, but to conquer.
Can we talk about Death Row East? What is exactly happening, and what can we expect from it?
You believe in God?
Certainly.
Believe in Death Row. Believe in God, believe in Death Row East. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, which is mind over matter. We got strength in numbers. We already run the streets out here. So now we just gonna help some of these brothers get their money. Death Row East is gonna be a personification of what we did on the West Side. We're gonna do it to the East Side, and we're gonna prove once and for all that all these people talking about an East Coast, West Coast war, they like the Judas was to Jesus. They only here to cause confusion.
Death Row East was announced as the East Coast extension of Suge's empire. But this wasn't a satellite office, it was a frontline base in the heart of Bad Boy territory. Suge brought in respected East Coast names like Eric B., Busta Rhymes, and even Craig Mack, once one of Bad Boy's artists. The goal wasn't just recruitment, it was symbolic. Suge wanted to plant his flag in the heart of New York City hip-hop, sending a message to Puffy. Tupac was all in. He envisioned a coast-to-coast takeover, a label that controlled every aspect of the radio, every club, and every billboard slot. He even talked about starting a political movement. This wasn't just music for him, it was a revolution.
I'm trying to bring 1989 back. I was broke in 89. Plus they had me in jail for a year for a crime I didn't commit, so they locked me in chains. I'm gonna come out and turn the chains into violence.
The 1996 MTV Video Music Awards in New York City became a pressure cooker. Tensions were sky high, Death Row was in the building, and Bad Boy was in the building, and everyone knew something was coming. Backstage, eyes darted and crews sized each other up. There were near altercations and whispers of people being armed. And that night, Tupac and Suge left New York for Las Vegas. But the VMAs were a silent goodbye. The last time we would see Pac in public. Death Row East had been introduced in New York City, and in a matter of weeks, it would die in Las Vegas.
You lost Best Rap Video. You'd all disappointed about that?
Oh no, I didn't lose, see, because I sold 6.5 million copies, so I won.
And we got a Death Row East in New York. Craig Mack is down with us. Run DMC is down with us. The night of the club, Craig Mack performed, Run DMC performed.
September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. After a Mike Tyson fight, Tupac and Suge were involved in a brawl with a Crip affiliate named Orlando Anderson. Hours later, while riding down the Vegas Strip, a white Cadillac pulled up beside them and opened fire. Tupac died nearly 6 days later. Suge survived, but everything else died that night. Without Tupac, Death Row West and Death Row East became a ghost ship. Suge was arrested shortly after. The artist fled and the vision collapsed. The war was over, but the damage had been done. Death Row East was more than a label. It was a symbol of ambition and of empire building, but it was also a symbol of revenge. Chess moves were carried out in real time. It was a vision birthed in fire and extinguished in blood. What if Tupac had lived? What if Suge had succeeded in taking over both coasts? What would the industry look like today? We'll never know, but one thing is certain: Death Row wasn't a label, it was a warning about power, pride, and how even kings can fall when they reach too far. too fast. It's your boy Misguidid Media. Stay safe and stay informed. I'm out.